Welcome to our exclusive Repair Don't Waste podcast to celebrate Repair Day 2023. This year's theme, Repair for Everyone, tackles the accessibility aspect of repair. Many manufacturers do not want customers to repair, and many government bodies are slow to action in terms of support. Today, I'll be speaking to William Santos on the topic of how the Repair Don't Waste movement sheds a different light on how repair can, and should, be made accessible to everyone and every business. So William, how does repairing PCBs help to reduce e-waste and net emissions in a fundamental way?
Most people don't know this, but PCBs are designed to last many years. However, the components in them, they can break down, they can degrade, and the way of keeping that PCB in good condition, at its highest value, is through repair, is through troubleshooting, repairing, replacing the components that fail within its lifespan, and then prolonging that lifespan by obviously implementing some predictive maintenance features and practices, reducing the need for the board to be sent back for repair. And by doing so, you can obviously extend the life of that circuit board. You can keep the equipment going for as long as possible. Repair reduces costs by 90% and emissions by 85%. And the world is full of e-waste right now. It is the fastest waste or stream of waste, is the fastest stream of waste that the world is producing, with over 60 million tons of e-waste being produced every year. A third of that amount comes from industry, comes from robotics, automation, defense equipment, aviation, rail transport, energy, even energy, renewable energy, sectors that are classed as green sectors. They pollute by discarding circuit boards that could be easily repaired using the right equipment, the right standards, and the right procedures.
And does repairing circuit boards in-house have wider benefits for the productivity of a business?
Companies can benefit greatly from developing the capabilities to repair their PCBs in-house. I think it's important to clarify as well, sometimes the terminology PCB is not easily understood. PCB basically means printed circuit boards, also known as just electronic circuit boards, circuit board assemblies, or PCBAs, or even CCAs, circuit card assemblies. But they're exactly the same thing. And by developing the capabilities to repair these pieces of technologies, you were basically becoming self-sufficient when it comes to the supply of replacement parts, which would be incredibly necessary to keep, critical systems going. The world around us require these circuit boards to operate the machinery, the wind turbines, the airplanes, and so on. So if you don't have the ability to repair the circuit boards, you need basically to wait for the original supplier to be obviously available to provide you with these circuit boards, which in many cases they reduce the support, or they stop making replacement parts shortly after the equipment has been supplied in the first place. They just move on to producing the next model, and then they turn the supplied equipment, something that was sold 5 years ago, they turn that into an obsolete product. If the product is deemed obsolete, they soon will be stopping selling spare parts. So you will be forced to upgrade to the most recent model, and this could obviously incur in massive charges. It could be millions of dollars that would have to go into upgrading an entire line, an entire fleet. So we had a situation with the UK MOD, for instance, where they were quoted by the original manufacturer £200 million to upgrade an entire collection of display systems used in the British Royal Navy. And rather than just spending all that money, they contacted the internal repair facility called DECA here in the UK, where they have the ABI systems, and that organization managed to take on that demand, repair those circuit boards for the Royal Navy, and the total cost involving labor, involving parts, was about £10,000. So from 200 million that the original supplier quoted to £10,000, that's a huge, huge savings. It's great for obviously for the environment, but fantastic for the British taxpayer, and great for the Navy as well, because they are a lot more sort of disconnected from the original manufacturer through the development of the in-house capabilities to look after critical equipment.
Repair enables the creation of high-quality technical jobs. What needs to change in the education sector to ensure that these roles are filled in the future?
I believe that education is really missing the point and missing a huge opportunity by not focusing on providing hands-on training for repair of electronics, especially industrial electronics and critical systems. Much of the education teaching in this country, but in many countries across the world, has been limited to being provided through simulation only, and everything is done through a computer screen, and students are not developing the hands-on, the practical skills, the dexterity required to take on a circuit board and analyzing it, and obviously not learning about the troubleshooting techniques and technologies available and standards available for that work to be carried out. As a result, circuit boards are being thrown away, and this is a key reason behind the massive mountain of e-waste that the world produces every year.
How does RepairDontWaste collaborate with and enrich initiatives such as Design for Repair?
We believe here at RepairDontWaste that the most sustainable electronics is basically the electronics that already exists. So all the parts, all the components, everything that has already been built into an equipment, for instance, and keeping that equipment going for as long as possible. And in order for that to happen, we need to ensure that we do better at the design stage in terms of documenting the circuit board, the functionalities, and obviously selecting components that would be more readily available. Stop house coding ICs and hiding the name of ICs, for instance, and making the life of the troubleshooter a lot more difficult. And basically, moving away from discouraging repair by adopting practices that are not aligned with the company's ESG, policies, and all the companies are preaching about sustainability, but when it comes to the design of their own products, they want to make it as hard as possible for that equipment to be repaired. That must stop, and this is what we do here at RepairDontWaste. We obviously talk about the needs for better documentation, better component selection, obviously creating space and test points on the boards, documenting those test points, utilizing equipment for creating, test procedures and sharing those test procedures with the end users to ensure that the equipment will be used for as long as possible and kept at its highest value for as long as possible as well.
Is there a financial incentive for businesses who are repairing industrial level electronics in-house?
There are huge benefits, financial benefits, from repairing industrial equipment in-house. I mentioned about the UK MOD saving hundreds of millions of pounds in a previous video by repairing house military equipment, which the manufacturer said there's no repair available, you're going to have to upgrade. We have other examples from not just the military sector, but from wind turbine sector as well. GE Renewable, ever since they became members of the RepairDontWaste community, they have saved over $20 million by developing international repair sites to look after wind turbine electronics. Not just in energy, defense, we have rail, many organizations utilizing the principles of repair don't waste and really embracing the correct technology, using the correct technology, the correct standards and training for the troubleshooting and repair of circuit boards. So I would really encourage people, business leaders, if you are still not sure about the benefits, well, get in contact with RepairDontWaste. Let us tell you about the journey that those organizations have gone through and how they have achieved so many savings over the last few years or even decades.
Which sectors do you believe can benefit the most from industrial board level repair?
Well, I believe the sectors that stand to benefit the most from developing the in-house capabilities to repair rather than replace electronics and critical systems are those sectors that require technology to operate 24/7. So I'm talking about the defense sector, automotive, manufacturing. Obviously, we're talking about electrification these days, and there's a lot of electronics that goes into production line, and that automation equipment needs to be sustained, needs to be maintained properly, and we can't just have circuit boards from robotic equipment being thrown away. We need to stop that, just like we need to stop seeing circuit boards from cars being thrown away because there's no one available to repair them, or there's not exactly a movement towards creating those capabilities and developing the right standards and implementing the correct tools for the job. And then we have the energy sector. Obviously, we talk about wind turbines, but then there's solar energy. There are all other types of energy production sectors and industries, and all those industries require the equipment to work 24/7. I could talk about the semiconductor manufacturing sector, for instance, which is obviously a critical industry. Everyone knows about the chip shortage. Everyone knows what happened when the semiconductor production sites couldn't cope with the demands from automotive and other sectors, and the chaos that came upon many different industries. So the semiconductor industry, they should definitely consider doing more in terms of keeping their equipment repaired and in good condition through the development of those skills as well. The rail sector, obviously, in trains, I know, for instance, Metro São Paulo is the third largest transit agency in the world, and that network has over 1 million circuit boards installed all over the network, from trains to signaling equipment, barriers, CCTV. So there's a lot of equipment, a lot of circuit boards in rail as well, and we need to make sure that the rail authorities, the OEMs, the operators, they are repairing them. And if all those sectors could do more, and I would include aerospace here as well, because that's another sector that requires electronics to operate at a very high standard. So if we could have all these sectors embracing RepairDontWaste, developing the capabilities to look after their assets, keeping them going for as long as possible, repairing them in-house rather than throwing them away just because something breaks down, then we would be doing collectively a fantastic job for the environment, for the economy as well, reducing e-waste, which is obviously at a very alarming level right now.
Thank you for your insight into these topics, William. I am sure they will give our audience food for thought when it comes to industrial board level repair. And thank you to all of you for listening to today's Repair Don't Waste podcast, made especially for Repair Day 2023. If you have any questions regarding the subjects discussed today, please reach out to us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or RepairDontWaste.com.